The VC ecosystem on Cardano is a little bit lacking, and we really like the community approach when working with a lot of these different projects. And Token Allies is taking that to the next level with a decentralized VC fund. And this is the community's opportunity to take part in it. And I have Alex and Lucas join me on this episode to talk a little bit more about this. I want to learn how it all works, the idea, the concept behind it. Got some hard questions for you guys too. So Alex, Lucas, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So can you take us through this idea of a decentralized VC and why you guys want to create this?
Well, we're Token Allies. We're building Cardano's decentralized VC. And the whole concept behind it was the whole thing that has been revolving around the Cardano community for some time now against VCs and all this VC narrative. And with our experience with funding and working with companies and in the funding world, we say, wait a second. Aren't VCs supposed to be good? Aren't they supposed to be one of the things that really transform humanity and help one of the biggest, or probably all the biggest startups and companies start and actually scale to billions of dollars and trillions of dollars businesses? So basically, what we are aiming to build is grab what already works in the VC world and transform it with blockchain technology and remove all the conflicts that had appeared in the venture capital model and all the things that the blockchain community doesn't like that much. The lack of transparency, conflicts of interest between management and investors of funds. So basically, we are launching our DAO to be the actual management of their funds and investors to actually vote and have a decision power on their investments. We are doing this through several funding rounds that we are going to launch at the beginning as a core team. We will be proposing the first funds with different objectives. Maybe our first fund could be to launch a $1 million fund to fund 10 businesses on Cardano, maybe real fight, and then the community is going to approve that. And then we're going to go through a whole decentralized funding model where the actual investors of the fund are the ones that vote which businesses get funded.
That's cool. I love it. It's making that whole process democratic and involving the community behind it as well. And it really embraces how Cardano works.
And not only that, because having the possibility to get involved in the management of the DAO and decision making of the DAO and the VC is something great. But also, if you think about the opportunities that normal people has in terms of investing their money, which is something that we normally see every day in the blockchain ecosystem, right? Just regular people investing their money, doing their own research, doing their own analysis and investing their money and getting benefits of it. That doesn't happen in the VC world. You have this idea of accredited investor, which is something that is, depending on the jurisdiction that you lived, has different meanings. But basically, if you are giving your money to a third party, that third party is responsible to do a due diligence on you, and that responsibility is to accredit you as an investor. And that requires, for example, a certain level of free funds that you have. You have to prove that you have enough money that can be loose and you will not be broke if that happens, and all things that stuff like that. And that create sort of a very concentrated type of investment capital in the VC sites. And what we are doing here is really democratizing that, because if you as an investor are not giving the money to a third party, you are managing your funds in a decentralized way, and you are the ones making decision on how that funds are being allocated to which companies, how that's approved, and in which ratio and stuff. Then you get rid of this need for being an accredited investor. And that is a very interesting thing, because it will allow a lot of people, mainly for the crypto space, the blockchain space, to be able to participate in a large round of business investments in really interesting companies that can skyrocket or be the next unicorn, and you will get to be part of that, and you will be able to do so because of this mechanism that we are aimed to create. So it's very interesting, and it's very exciting to see how this can work, and the exciting that the community is having for this idea.
Yeah,
So I've
and to mention a little bit on what you were saying, or you were asking about the need that the Cardano community has and the Cardano builders especially have. We've been on Cardano for over 2 years talking about the funding space. We first started as a crowdfunding platform, and eventually through time, through different pivots, we talked with many Cardano builders, and probably you might have seen this on Twitter and another social media. The Cardano builders need funding, and there are several alternatives. There's Project Catalyst, but there, with all the builders that we talked to, and all the builders that already had a working product, that already have a quite a successful project on Cardano, agreed that there is a need for serious funding.
Yeah, Project Catalyst is great, especially for a lot of the small startups. But even then, it is so competitive, and we have a lot of the larger projects out there still gobbling up all the funding and all the airtime, even in regards to it. So yeah, having an alternative in the space is crucial. I think, especially for the infrastructure and the innovators building something really different in the space. So with the process of getting projects on board, it's kind of like a chicken and the egg. Like you attract good businesses when they know you have a lot of funding and investment for the projects. And if you don't have much, you're not going to attract really good projects. How are you guys going to attract good projects to the VC fund before the community is involved and votes on the various shortlists?
That's interesting, because it's, as you said, it's the egg and the chicken situation. So our mechanism right now, as it is in our white paper, is first to create the fund and then open up for companies to apply to it. So you will actually have the bag of funds already there, already with a purpose, already ready for making investments, and the fund investors ready to make a decision on which companies are going to get those funds. So it will be kind of the same thing that Catalyst is doing, creating a fund 10, for example, with X amount of money divided in these challenges. We kind of are emulating that idea. We will have, for example, fund 1, as Lucas said, which is going to be our first MVP. So it will be a little bit lower in amount. Will be $1 million by the end of this year. And we intend to aim it as a purpose to Cardano projects. Why? Because all of our investors are from Cardano. Our knowledge base is for Cardano. We have the need in Cardano. So we think that if we build that, it will be very easy for Cardano people to understand, hey, there is this possibility, and I have, I don't know, Endmaker, for example. I want to build up the next million users of the platform. So how can I do that? Hey, I can apply to Tokenize and this fund that they just opened. So in that case, it is fairly easy to understand the link. But going forward, if you create, for example, a fund of 10 million, sort of kind of the size or comparable size that Catalyst is having right now, but for specific type of projects, let's say we are going to create a fund for, I don't know, agri-tech type of companies in Africa, and they have to prove that they have a scalable business model, they have traction, they have market fit, they have numbers that can be understand. Then you have that synergy all there. And we are not going to do it on our own, just by ourselves. We understand that the investors probably won't have all the expertise that is needed to select the project, for example. So the model also has a set of experts that will be appointed for each fund, depending on the fund purpose and type of companies that will be able to apply. And this set of experts will do the due diligence. All the proper due diligence for those companies will be done by these experts. They will create a report, an assessment, ratified and verified and publicly available to all the investors of that fund, so the investors can understand what are there, if the attraction is there, if the market fit is there, if the scalability is there, is what they are asking in terms of money, and the project that they want to do is feasible or not, and all the things that make them be able to compare the different companies that are applying and select the most interesting ones for the fund. So the idea is that if you have the money there, if you have the purpose there, if you understand the niche where you want to collaborate and make a difference there, it will be easier to get those companies attracted to the. I will not say that it's simple, and we know that it's not, but it's more easy to promote the fund and to look for those specific companies, especially when we will have some expertise there hired for the due diligence. Maybe there are also promoting that within the different ecosystem that they are part of or they knew.
Now, with the a lot of in the regular VC space, VCs want to see a big return on their investment. Hence, they're getting in at a very early stage on risky projects, and they'll see 1,000x return over 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. Now, with all the projects that you were potentially onboarding, I'm like you mentioned, good business models and feasibility, etc. So, unlike Project Catalyst, some of these projects don't have a return on investment, whereas these projects, I assume, would all need to have some sort of return on investment. And would that also then lead to all the people that are buying into the decentralized VC fund be expecting a return on their tokens as well? I'm assuming that's the case, and that
Correct.
kind of lead towards it being a security. Is that correct?
It's correct that they will be expecting the return on their investment as any VC investor in any standard VC. So you will have the all the benefits from a regular VC and all the terms and contracts and formality of a regular VC. On the outside, for a company that is applying to fund, there will be probably no difference. They will see kind of the same thing that they see with a regular VC. On the inside is the difference, because you have a different type of management. You don't have these general partners or private equity companies managing the funds. It is the DAO or the investors of a specific fund managing that fund, and a set of advisors, expert advisors that are doing the due diligence hired by that fund. So in terms of expectations, yes, probably the first funds and most of the funds, I would expect, will have that ROI expected. It will depend on the niche that the fund is aimed to. You can expect 3 to 5x in 3 years, for example, or you expect 10x in 5 years, or different type of approaches depending on the niche, depending on the series that you invest. If it's Series A, Series B, Series C. So on the outside, you will see just a regular VC. With a bag of money that is investing in specific companies with a specific metrics to found and to help and to address growing, helping those companies to grow and reach out that exit. But also, as this is a DAO, and the DAO will be the one that creates the funds, not just investors. The DAO are the ones that open a fund for investors from the DAO to invest. You can have also impact related funds that are not expecting ROI. They are expecting impact, for example. So you can envision that if the DAO goes well and there are many people that are involved that are getting wealthier because of the returns, maybe those people like to have an impact on the world and create a specific fund for that. And also, which is interesting, the DAO itself will have a treasury, and that treasury will be collecting some of the ROIs for the standard funds that when they came, part of that ROI goes to the treasury, as well as the members' purchase of the governance tokens go to the treasury as well. And part of that will be the operating budget of the DAO, but we understand that there is a lot of money that will be free on that treasury to do some other stuff. So imagine the maybe tomorrow when that treasury is large enough, then the DAO can decide, hey, with all this money that we have in the treasury, let's say this $1 million, let's create a fund for a non-return of investment type of projects. Let's do impact-driven projects or poverty-related projects or whatever the DAO thinks is good for the DAO itself.
Yeah, and that also goes back to what we were saying before about in blockchain we really like to break everything and do something new. But I think there is something very smart, at least from my point of view, from our point of view, about seeing what works in Web 2, in the traditional world, in the traditional finance world. Yeah, there are many problems with it. If you are in blockchain, we already know about them. That's a fact. Uh, but from the VC world, if there are things that already work from the standard company side, maybe you don't have to even know that we are managed through a DAO to actually be onboarded into blockchain, and that's it. And I think it's a big thing in blockchain technology. Is like normal users shouldn't be even knowing that they are using blockchain.
I totally agree with that. Okay, so basically run it exactly as a VC, but in the background, the mechanics, the inner workings is blockchain based, DAO based, and regular investors won't see all that stuff. So that's totally understood there. Now, how are the funds managed? Now, I know, like in a regular VC fund, you'd have fund managers. I guess there's a lot of red tape. You have to follow regulations and stuff. Is it done the same way? I have no exposure to VCs before, so I have no idea how it all works. If I gave you guys tens of thousands of dollars, my whole life savings, how is that money managed? So I'm rest assured that the team doesn't disappear with it, especially in international companies and whatnot. Yeah. It is a worry, and I have absolutely no idea how this works.
And I'm really glad that you asked, because it's the core thing of this idea. If we cannot provide security in terms of how those managers, how those funds are oversight, how are you controlling what things are being done with those funds, then the whole model doesn't work. And that's why we have this fairly, we'll say, complex ecosystem of tokens. We have 3 tokens to manage all these things. So at first, when you hit the white paper, it's kind of, what? What is this about? But it's exactly the idea of how we can produce something that is secure and at the same time decentralized, and on the other side, help the people to do whatever they want in terms of, if you are an investor that just want to put your money there and you don't care about decision making, you think that other people can do a better job than you, and you are fine because you trust the DAO and the funds and all the mechanisms, fine. What are you going to be required to be part of that decision making if you don't want to? And but if you are an investor that are really concerned about the exactly things that you mentioned, how this thing will work without me losing my whole savings, I want to be involved, and I want to be involved hard. I want to be able to take decisions here because I'm putting a lot of money there. Then the model should allow you to do. So basically, there will be a smart contract per fund. That smart contract will be the one that will be collecting the funds while the fund is open for collection. Once the collection is done, there will be two things that will happen. First, the fund will be declared fully funded, if there is a certain threshold that is reached or the target is reached. And then when the fund is fully funded, companies are allowed to come in and present themselves to be a candidate for being funded. But then the investors will have two things. First, they will have an ID token, which is a sort of NFT that identifies you as an investor of that fund, that gives you the rights for the ROI of those funds. So any return of investment that funds provides in the proportion that you invested in the whole fund, you will get to claim those returns with your ID. The second thing is the Ali token. The Ali token is a very interesting token that we created to separate these two things that I just explained. The Ali token is only minted when a fully funded is reached. So there's no Ali token until a fund is created and a certain level of money is successfully raised. And when that's happened, then the Ali token is minted in a certain ratio, let's say 1 Ali per USD collected, and you as an investor will get the same amount of ratio that you invested in Alis. That Ali will be your voting power. So you will, in any decision making of the fund, let's say that there are 20 companies presented and there is money for 5 of them because of the ratio and the type of funds that you want to invest. So you will get a vote in there with all the assessments done and all the due diligence and stuff. And the investors are the ones getting to vote. And you will vote with the amount of value that you receive for that investment that you make. So it's plutocratic, and we understand that. Maybe in the future there are other mechanisms for voting and making more fair in that sense. But we think that in the first iterations of this is fine, that people that invested more money has more power in terms of decision making. And so you will get to vote with those Ali. But if you don't want that Ali, you don't want to participate, you can sell them. And that will be a liquid type of money that you can get if you don't want to participate in decision making. Or in the future, maybe the fund is expecting to last 3 to 5 years, and then in second year you have a problem, a personal situation, and you need money. Then you can choose, hey, I will keep my ID NFT, I will continue to be part of the investors of this fund, I will get the ROI when that realized, but I will get rid of my allies so I can get some money back and do my own stuff. So the idea there is that every decision making on that fund will be run through that kind of subset of the DAO, which are the investors of that fund with their Ali power on them. And as fund after fund is succeeded, you as an investor, if you participate in more than one fund, you will get the possibility to add the Ali power that you have collected through different funds that you participated and get more voting power. That is a kind of, for one, is an incentive to keep the allies and make it more valuable for you and the DAO. And on the other side is that recognize people that have a track record, that they are investing in different funds and they are kind of behaving the way that we want in order to create a huge VC in this ecosystem and allowing them to take more part in the decision-making process of that. So that's the general idea, and everything will be recorded and public, and it will be we have an investment platform that we have been developing for a year, almost a year by now, that will all the investors will have access to the specific funds information and all the reports from the specific companies that are participating, all the vesting events that are there, all the contracts that were signed, and every single report that needs to be done in order for you to be part of the management of that fund. If there is a company that is not up to the challenge and we need to decide, hey, okay, let's cut the deal because that is not going anywhere, okay, that fund investors will get to decide that. So of course all these experts will be the advisors on how things are doing, and probably they will be the boots on the ground with the companies in behalf of the DAO, and they will have proper representation, so they can do their job. And if you get a board seat or things like that, then also the fund investors will get to decide who will take that board position among the investors or some of the hiring people that we present. And in order to do that, the DAO has to be registered somewhere, and that is something that we are going to produce probably in the next 2 to 3 months. And we want that to be also part of the DAO decision making, because we know that there is a large community, very broad, very different and diverse, and we didn't want to select us as a, because I'm living in Argentina. I think that, I don't know, Kanban is the best place to form a DAO. Yeah, but probably people in US think differently, people in Japan think differently. So let's do something there. Let's propose 3, 4, 5 jurisdictions based on different legal assessments from experts in the field, and let's vote. Let's decide as a DAO which is the one that is more suitable for the current investors or the current DAO members for the DAO to be registered.
Okay, so bring in all these aspects of blockchain to make it decentralized and community grassroots approach. I do like it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the legal structure and everything around the DAO forms over the next few months. So I'll keep an eye on everything and see what's going on. And I did have a look at the token structure, the 3 different tokens: the ALI, the DVC, and the investor NFT. It was confusing at first. There's a lot there, but now it makes total sense that it's broken down into funds and the voting power for each fund. So that's really good too. Now, my last major question here is around how funding comes into the ecosystem. So at the moment, you're selling the DVC, the Decentralized VC token, as a ADA sale. So you're getting liquidity at the moment from within the Cardano ecosystem. Is there plans to expand this further and externally to accept USD or other fiat currencies or even other cryptocurrencies, so that we're not just seeing the circular movement of ADA within our own ecosystem, but actually drawing in liquidity and funding from external sources as well to promote and push up the Cardano ecosystem, not just move things around?
Yeah, of course. We are big lovers of the Cardano ecosystem. We've been here for some time now. I'm a Cardano ambassador. We also participated on the SIP 1694 workshop a few weeks ago. We were talking with Charles and lots of builders in Cardano. And yeah, of course, it's something that is really needed on Cardano, and we like to remind ourselves that. But it's something that is also needed in the world. So if we really dream big, and we do, this is a model we are proposing, a decentralized funding model, and hopefully it works way better than we already have. So why should we keep it only for Cardano? Why shouldn't we use this for every blockchain, right? So yeah, of course, it's something that it's a possibility, and eventually maybe it's a possibility.
And I would like to address the mention you mentioned, liquidity. Currently, what we are collecting is operating funds, not investment funds. Each fund will be open to DAO members, and they will have to invest in some sort of stable coin, whether it's Digit or USDM or USDA. We will see. We are talking to all the stable coins in the ecosystem. But investors that come to the DAO, they know that this DVC that they are purchasing is just the membership token that they will use to be part of that the DAO. And if they want to take a decision on the different things that the DAO will manage, they will use that for voting. But then when a fund opens, then you have to have your own set of money in order to invest there. So the investments will come from the DAO members, but it's a different stream because, for example, we are talking with different whales that are now part of the DAO, very happy to see that happen, and we were kind of surprised that they were probably one of the firsts to jump in. And it's amazing, because I mean, they are kind of seeing the same thing that we are seeing, that this is an amazing model to try and to test and to develop. And they kind of know that when we open this fund one, for example, of $1 million, we will probably need several whales there supporting that fund with, let's say, 100K and above, in order for making that kind of money riseable. And imagine when we go to a $10 million fund or a $100 million fund, you will need real investors there, both individuals and institutionals that comes into the DAO for that investment. So the main purpose of the DAO itself, and we keep reminding people about this is not just a regular NFT or meme coin launch. This is a VC, and if you come here, either you can do as a small investor, invest, I don't know, $1,000 in a fund, and that's fine, and that is correct, and we want to support that. But in order to raise $10 million or $100 million and having serious money and achieve the purpose of what we are trying to do, we need investors with power in the terms of the money that can invest in that. And we need to select proper companies that are capable of growth in the way that we forecast, so the return of investment makes sense to keep those big investors coming in. And probably we, as Lucas says, what we are building, we didn't want to call it a protocol, but I kind of foreseeing that that's the way this will go, and it will eventually become a protocol of a decentralized VC protocol, and that can be exported anywhere, and it can bridge everywhere. And maybe we can use stablecoins from other blockchains and wrap stablecoins to Cardano and vice versa, and start making the flow of money more appealing to investors, more secure, and at the same time with a purpose, which is not just sit there speculating that the price of a certain token will go up, but you are doing something really rational in terms of, hey, we are investing in these huge companies, and we are going to get some portion of that wealth because we are helping them to grow. And at the same time, as Lucas was saying, and you were asking, the ecosystem needs that. We are seeing a lot of great projects, not only in Cardano. Maybe Cardano is exacerbating in the lack of VCs, but other ecosystems are suffering the same thing, which is when you found your model, you have market fit, you are ready to scale. As the blockchain ecosystem is not yet really there in terms of real usage and millions of users jumping in, you will have some problems there. You have some challenges. You have a lot of things that you will have to sustain for probably quite a period of time. And if you don't have those resources, probably your project will fail. And not because it's a bad project, it will because you didn't have enough resources to do it. And we have seen this in the past in the world, and in the 2000s or the 2000s and 20s or 10s, when money is there, free flowing, invasion happen, and amazing wealth is created. When money is not there, simply things stop, and there is no inventions or nothing happens there. And we want to create something that is fluid and liquid and good for everyone, and trying to democratize that and get the good part, as Lucas says, that we know works, continue working, and make it better on the management side, which is what we think, and in my personal experience with dealing with VCs, is what is wrong. The same thing as we are always seeing in the blockchain. Centralization gives one or two people in charge of something, and when you have that situation, you probably know that something not aligned will happen, but for not using a bad word there.
Okay, all right. This is pretty exciting to hear all this, and I'm going to be watching the development and everything around it really closely. Now, you guys do have your minting of your DVC going on at the moment. People can get to it on the website. What were the details of all that, so people can find out a little bit more? And I've got to grab the links to your white paper as well. I'll put it in the show notes down below.
Yeah, sure. So yes, we are minting. We started minting almost a month ago, and the reception from the community has been awesome. By the time of of this recording, we minted. I think we are over 2,000 DVC tokens. So it's been amazing. People are liking it, and that's the thing that we really want to promote is that we are building this with the community. So if you want to be part of that building process of building this the real decentralized venture capital on Cardano, if join us, you can mint on our website. Um, and yeah, we're offering a limited time discount of 25% on the original DAO or the original price for the DVC. So yeah, we welcome everyone to join. The community has been awesome so far, and we really want to expand it and grow it way bigger.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the minting because I have the numbers here that just refreshed, and we have 178 single stake addresses that invested, and most than half of them, 106, are one DVC holders. So that is very exciting and very interesting because it is kind of decentralized, even though there are people that are selecting more voting power. For example, we have people that had 150 DVCs, which is great because maybe there is a whale down there, right? Because I mean, if you purchase 150 DVC, why are you doing that, right? Because you want to have decision making power there. But the decentralization of the space and the possibility that single users, single people come into this and participate is amazing. And we are seeing that on the numbers. And every single expectation that we have on this first stage that closed today was surpassed. And we have to change the target 3 times in the last 4 to 5 days because of the enormous reception that this has. So we are totally excited, totally committed to make it happen. And we know that it will be not an easy task to do. There's a lot of complexities and things that will get into the process, but we have an outstanding community. And I think we couldn't have chosen a better community to start this huge, humongous endeavor than the Cardano community, because we like here to do rational things. We like here to do things that work and that are built to last. And we are totally excited about that.
I couldn't agree more with that sentiment. It's definitely the community to start with. We don't like rug pulls. It just you don't see it happen as comparatively to other ones. But guys, thank you so much for sharing everything about Token Allies and your DVC at the moment. It's pretty exciting. I'll watch the developments and I'll keep the community up to date with everything. So I'll grab all the links, everything in the show notes down below. And thank you for joining me. Oh, and Lucas, looking forward to our boxing match.
Oh yeah. No, thank you so much for this space. And yeah, can't wait. I just put it out as a meme that I do box training. I do, but yeah, you post a lot about boxing, so I don't know if I want to.
Well, but Lucas, you cannot back it up. I mean, the community now wants blood, and you guys will have to fight. So we will take care of not being a death match, but it will be a good boxing match, and we will be a rare bloom. So if Peter, you're there, who knows? We can be the central stage.
We'll make something happen. Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks so much
thanks,
for
guys.
this space. You're doing an amazing thing, and thanks for all the hard work that you do as an ambassador in Cardano and a huge member of the community for helping us to get the word out and keep building in Cardano. So thanks so much.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.